Chapter 9. CONSEQUENCS. Morning arrives with a golden light that infiltrates through the gaps in the blinds. I wake up alone. The side of the bed where Pedro slept still holds the contour of his body. The pillow retains his scent, that mixture of musk, sweat, and something uniquely his that has always awakened something primitive in me. He left before dawn, a soft kiss on my forehead and whispered words that I can't completely recall. Something about calling me later, about needing to talk. I lie still for a few minutes, letting memories of the previous night color my thoughts. My body still holds the sensations, places that hurt in a good way, a delicious physical reminder of his urgency, subtle marks that his fingers and lips left on my skin. Between my thighs, I feel that sensitivity that always remains after a particularly intense night, a sweet ache that makes me press my legs together, reviving the memories. Physical evidence of a connection I tried, unsuccessfully, to break. I absently run my fingers over the spots where I know there are small marks, on my neck, on the inner thigh, just below my left breast. Places that Pedro always marked, as if he wanted to leave a map of his passage across my body. The sound of the front door opening pulls me from my reverie. Fair is back. I quickly put on a loose t-shirt and shorts, trying to look casual, as if last night had been just another in my routine. A lie that not even I believe. I observe in the mirror visible marks on my neck, deciding to leave my hair loose to hide them. I find her in the kitchen, preparing coffee. She looks at me with a raised eyebrow, a knowing smile on her face. "Good morning, drama queen," she says, pushing a steaming mug in my direction. "Apparently, someone had company last night." I feel the heat rising up my neck. "How did you?" "First," she raises a finger, "you never sleep until 9:30, even on weekends. Second," another finger, "there's a male sweatshirt thrown on the sofa. And third," a third finger joins the others, "you have that face." "What face?" I ask, taking the mug and sitting at the table, crossing my legs to relieve the slight, but persistent, sensation between them. The face of someone who had a very good night and is trying not to look smug about it. That attempt to hide the marks on your neck with your hair isn't helping either. Instinctively, I bring my hand to the spot I tried to hide, feeling the warmth of the still, sensitive skin. I take a sip of coffee to buy time, but there's no denying the obvious. Pedro was here. Fair sits across from me, her face now genuinely curious. "The same Pedro you dramatically broke up with by the lake a few weeks ago. The Pedro who's preventing the great Sofia Martins from fulfilling her academic destiny." "You make it sound so ridiculous." "Because it is," she sighs. "What happened to all that talk about following your path without ties?" I place the mug on the table, watching the dark liquid swirl. "He sent a message, said he missed me." "And you, of course, being the queen of discipline and self-control, immediately invited him over." "Yes, there's no point in pretending dignity at this point. Fair, I've never felt anything like this for anyone." She tilts her head, her eyes softening a bit. "Like what?" The words come out before I can organize them properly. "It's like it's more than just chemistry, you know? There's something. I don't know how to explain it. It's like we're connected on a deeper level. When he touches me, it's like he knows my body better than I do myself. Like every part of me automatically responds to him." "Like spiritually?" Fair asks, a slight tone of skepticism in her voice. "Maybe." I know how this sounds coming from me, who has always been the more rational, the more skeptical between us. I'm not saying I believe in soulmates or predestination, but when I'm with him, I feel something that I can't explain just in biological or psychological terms. It's as if, when we're together, every touch, every kiss had a deeper meaning. "Wow," Fair whistles softly. "The nerd really got to you." And that's not all. I hesitate, thinking whether or not I should reveal the extent of my recklessness. "Last night I did something crazy." Fair leans forward, eyes wide in anticipation. He was about to take out a condom and I said no. The words sound strange out loud. I said I wanted to feel him completely. Fair almost chokes on her coffee. Sofia Martins, the same one who gave a lecture to the freshmen about safe sex last semester. I know. I cover my face with my hands. It was crazy. And he, Fair makes a vague gesture with her hand. Yes, inside. I feel my face burn as I remember the sensation, the heat, the pulsation, the absolute intimacy of that moment. It was. I don't need the graphic details, Fair interrupts, but her tone is more amused than reproving. What I need to know is, were you protected in other ways? I bite my lip, suddenly feeling very foolish. I told him I was on birth control. My God, she places the mug on the table forcefully. And you're not using contraceptives, are you? You stopped when you broke up with that guy from the philosophy department, remember? A weight settles in my stomach. With all the emotion of the previous night, this crucial detail simply escaped. Damn, I told him I was taking it. Sofia, Fair looks at me in disbelief. Do you have any idea what that means? You could be pregnant. The word pregnant hangs between us, heavy and laden with implications that I'm not ready to consider. Maybe nothing will happen, I say, but I know I'm deluding myself. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's a decision from the universe or something. Fair looks at me as if I'd grown a second head. Decision from the universe? Who are you, and what have you done with my rationalist friend? Her tone makes me realize how absurd it sounds. Me, who has always planned every detail of my life, now leaving crucial decisions to the universe. It's stupidity, Sofia, Fair continues, her voice more serious now. Think about what would happen if you actually got pregnant. In the bad moments, when you're frustrated for not having gone to study abroad, for having abandoned your plans, don't you think you would unconsciously blame the child? A child isn't a game. It's not something you leave for the universe to decide in a moment of passion. Her words hit me like a bucket of cold water. The reality of the situation finally imposes itself. What am I doing? Throwing away years of careful planning because of feelings that might be just a hormonal storm. You're right, I finally admit. It was irresponsible and selfish. Fair sighs, her expression softening. Look, I understand that you're confused. This guy really affected you in a way we didn't expect, but you need to think clearly. Do you have a morning after pill? I ask, definitively abandoning any pretense of dignity. A sympathetic smile appears on Fair's face. Of course, always prepared, right, friend. She gets up and goes to her room, returning moments later with a small package. She places it on the table in front of me. Thank you, I say, taking the pill and swallowing it with a sip of coffee. A simple solution for what could have been a monumental complication. And yet, a small part of me, a part I would never acknowledge out loud, feels a pang of disappointment. The idea of carrying a part of him with me, of feeling his child growing inside me. It's a thought as irrational as it is seductive. So, Fair says, resuming her place at the table. What happens now? Are you going to try a long-distance relationship? Are you going to give up studying abroad? Honestly, I don't know. I run my fingers along the edge of the mug. Last night was intense, but the circumstances remain the same. York is still waiting for me. And Pedro? I sigh, feeling the weight of the question. He's also waiting for me, I imagine, at least until I leave. Fair studies me for a moment, her face unreadable. Finally, she gets up. You know what we need? Fresh air. Clarity, let's go to the park to meditate. I laugh, grateful for the change of subject. Since when do you meditate? Since I discovered that the guys from the psychology department frequent the meditation group in the park. She winks. And don't look at me like that. At least my motives are honest. Right. I get up too, suddenly anxious to leave the apartment to escape the circular thoughts that haunt me. Let me change clothes. As I get ready, I look at the unmade bed, at the pillow that still holds the shape of Pedro's head, at the wrinkled sheets that witnessed our physical reconciliation. My fingers briefly trace the fabric, finding the damp spot in the center of the bed, physical evidence of our night, of our connection, a silent testimony to the shared pleasure. Last night resolved nothing. Perhaps it even complicated things more. But for the first time since I received the news about York, I feel that at least I'm facing the true choice before me, and not just blindly following a predetermined script. Meditating in the park with Fair won't give me all the answers, but perhaps it will give me the mental space to really listen to what my heart is trying to say, even if it's something my rational mind doesn't want to hear.